performance squeezed out of every piece of anything that can be improved on it. This hobby's closer to Picasso than it is to Apple. That was pretty nice, actually. I think I'll close with that. And I'm out. Okay, happy Friday. My throat is a furnace. I got the C word. It's still as big as it was last year. What a trip. If you are interested in getting a SimGot EA500 LM, comment below this video. That one that you're looking at right there, and the red and black one-off collab that crashed and burned, Cupcake Obsession, and another person got, I didn't reply to you yet, bro, but I got your mail, so you're set. This video is for, there's going to be 2 sent to me wrapped in plastic, brand new one. This is going to be a brand new one. Comment below this video, and I'll announce it on the unboxing channel, and you need to be a subscriber there as well as the channel you're watching right now. Thank you for your support. Try to keep this going, not paying people's import taxes. If you can't afford the import taxes where you live, maybe just enjoy the video. Now let me go ahead and break this into chapters, because this is a kind of complicated yet very simple topic. This is my summary. Money doesn't buy you sound quality, not necessarily. In fact, it's kind of random when that occurs in comparison to other industries, and I'll explain that in the next chapter. But you spending more money, let's say $80 on a LM, and then saying, I want to get more, I want to have an ultimate experience and get a very good set like the Timsok TS316, which cost $500–600. So you'd be paying 5, 6, 7 times as much. You may not necessarily get back superior audio playback, and you might actually, it might be the other way around. And I'll explain to you why that is, even though that doesn't really make sense on the face of it. I'll explain why as we continue the video. But that's my thesis. Money doesn't purchase or buy you sound quality, aka water is wet, audiophile edition. Okay, let's start with chapter 1. Call this data comp. In a lot of industries that you are part of, if you're in the portable goods hobby, portable audio, everybody's got a phone, you have a bunch of information at your fingertips, literally. All you have to do is search. A good example would be GSM Arena, which I have the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max lined up right next to each other, broken down: network, launch, body, display, platform, memory, main camera, selfie camera, sound, comms, features, battery, miscellaneous, tests. I can get really everything that I need and a lot of stuff that I don't need. And I can compare other goods too. This isn't opinion. There's no opinion in here whatsoever. This is specs. This is data. This is objective information. This is automatic and expected when comparing phones. In the personal computer space, when it comes to CPUs and GPUs, it's the same thing. You can compare, you can see benchmarks that are done by the community and submitted, or you can see it done by a YouTuber or a website, and you can see the objective information first, and there's lots of it, and then you can go and find somebody on a platform like YouTube or otherwise that is similar to you. Let's say you're an active person, so you're looking for things that are rugged or at least kind of fit your lifestyle, whereas another person that's a popular personality doesn't seem to quite match you. They don't seem like they might be using that item, whatever it is, a camera, a phone, in the same way that you might. So you want something a little more, you want to hear a little bit more info from somebody that matches you, seems kind of similar to you as the final step before making the purchase, because at the beginning you got all the objective data. That was automatic, that was quick, you know that's there, and next final step is to find somebody who speaks to you, and you might not know until you catch it in the video and like, that's what I wanted to hear, and then boom, it's just a matter of finding either the best price or the most trusted platform and then making the purchase. That is not possible in the personal audio space. There is not enough data points beyond, let's say most people are familiar with a frequency graph. Let me fix that color for you there. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. You've got a frequency graph, which will tell you tonality. It's not going to tell you much beyond that. Variations, the amount of variation with just the microphones that are, the mics that are used on this hobby. There's a person named Listener. Shout out to him. He does a lot of work for making this a more effective and efficient tool for the end user. There's a lot of variation because of humans and variations within mics, and then you've got the variations within the measured devices, which is the earphones in this case. Themselves are slightly different, plus the variation of the mics is slightly different. So you can get a wide variety, and this is one of among the most objective pieces of data in this hobby right here. And that's how kind of wild and chaotic it actually is. And it doesn't actually tell you most of the information. It just gives you if something's going to be warm, or it's going to be bright, or it's going to be dark, or there's not much more beyond that actually is going to tell you. So in this arena, which is personal audio, you really don't have much. Most people don't look at THD plots. We're talking about 1% of the community that actually engages and looks at really the frequency graph, THD, and then there's the driver, which is really the manufacturer saying that this is our top quality driver based on, let's say, dynamic driver. It's a magnet voice coil motor structure, which means it's a typical dynamic driver. It's got a membrane, the diaphragm with maybe a dome. It's got a voice coil. It's got magnet. It's got the suspension system around the diaphragm that secures it to the basket. And they say that this is our top of the line. You need to buy that in bulk and you get a better price. And then you, of course, put that in your top of the line thing, which I'll talk about in the next chapter. But this is just about data comparison. If I want to take a look at a phone, it's easy. I would never purchase one without looking at this, or a television, or anything that can be benchmarked. I would never. I want to check stuff out. This space that I review in has nothing like this. You could fit in one of these boxes the information that would be objective and you could compare, and it would be almost meaningless, like driver size. This one's 9mm, this is 11.1. Even that objective data that is clear and can be measured, its meaning can be questioned, like some of this, but there's so much of this. I would need a group of people and every finger on both of their hands to count out all of the data that I can get from a phone or a television or myriad of things. I could use my own hand and only one of them to discuss and describe objective data in this space. And that's the first chapter. Data comp. There's not a lot in this hobby. Okay, this chapter is called Timsok Review. Keep it simple. This is a review from music. I wonder if I can change this to be... There we go. That's much friendlier for your eyes, probably. This is... I'll put his name out. I'm highlighting this review because I agree with all of it. It's a 5-star review for the Timsok, which is the more expensive one. And I agree with all the points. Build quality, yes. Upscale packaging, yeah. Look, it's kind of like a Sony Z1R. Classy looking 4.4, fabric wrapped, warmer balanced sound signature, got it. Natural tonality and timbre, yes. Nice note weight, nice is the key word here. Smooth mids, bright airy upper mids and treble. Cons, earpieces of fingerprint magnets, agreed. Fabric wrap on cable prone to microphonics, very much agree. That's become a problem with me with this set and why I didn't do a full review yet. Bass would benefit with a bit more definition and texture. Agree. This is the one thing that I had when they said a positive for nice note weight. This set Timsok lacks a punch, and it might be because the back of the driver is a little bit too open for my ears, and then goes through a bunch of detail. 5-star review for a $600 set. I totally agree with it. I happen to think, though, that the set that is $80 is actually better in all of the things that were mentioned by that person. So while he's correct, and I would say that that's a legit, if you see that as a consumer on that website, I would agree with all those points because the cons are the same cons. It is a fingerprint magnet. It does have very strong microphonics, and what he's calling texture and definition, I'm calling impact. note weight, whereas he highlighted note weight as being a positive. Those are semantics, actually, between me and whoever this person is. But that's a really good set, and I think that the set that's under it is a better set. And I'm going to talk about one last thing, and that's going to be music, so that will be the final chapter. Okay, let's wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and put up my own music that I refer to sometimes, because I want to be specific when I say that with a library like mine, and I don't want to like just look at my library and say, plays Bob Marley better. Let me be specific with you. And I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. The drops on Big Boy Kill Jill, I think it sounds better on the more affordable set. The ability to perceive the basis of the drummer, and like not masking, which is a thing that dynamic drivers suffer from, is about on the same level for these two sets despite their price difference. The 808 Roland and Marvin Gaye's Sexual Healing, I think, sounds equal or better on the LM to my ears. The U2 seconds, the mixed effects, random overdub vocal at 1:18 seconds, and then the TV in the background from 2:02 to 2:12 sounds more clear and audible. That's something that can kind of get covered up, or the quality of the ability to perceive it is reduced, especially with mid bass being pushed up. It's kind of a res check, kind of. It depends on the tuning. Mid bass will definitely affect that. I think this set plays that better than the more expensive one. Steely Dan Hey 19, 208 to 240 interlude with drum, guitar, vocal. Led Zeppelin, Fool in the Rain, drums, vocals, guitar solo. The Pretty Shuffle by John Bonham, drums at 2:34 seconds on, and then the unique distortion that Jimmy Page uses at 3:51 to 4:53. On everything that you see listed in front of you, I think that the more affordable set sounds equal or better than the more expensive set. And I think both of them are very good. But I think that with my library, that the more affordable one is clearly the better one. And so I'll wrap this all up. Everybody knows in this hobby for a very long time that money doesn't necessarily buy you sound quality. It's possible because the access that companies have to better materials and goods, and the company's goal is to make you feel like you got your money's worth, so of course they want to do that, but it's a very inexact science. Again, the objective data that we have available to us is, compared to other electronic goods, is very, very, very small. We've got graphs that are subject to human error, mic variation, unit of different earphones variation, compile that all together, and you can have wildly different interpretations by people that might otherwise agree, but they're listening to slightly different sets because of the variation in the unit. Or people are looking at one person's graph and then not seeing another one and getting an impression based on that, and a psychological, I'm going to skip this one because that graph doesn't look, when all the graph actually tells you is the tonality. Bright, warm, remember bright is, sounds like it's loud in the vocal area, it's got a big gain region. Let me go ahead and pull that up really quick because it's like the only thing that we've got. And let me get this into normal mode. This area being emphasized a lot and abruptly by that angle of attack can give you a loud, shouty, and a bright replay. Boosting in the treble where harmonics are emphasized over the fundamentals more than what might seem natural can also seem what might be described as bright. This area in the mid bass being elevated can create a sense of warmth. The more that you lift it, the more warm it gets, and then it gets to other words to describe it, which are very not good. The sub-bass region being boosted only and leaving the mids clean can actually still allow for perfectly, if not slightly thin vocal replay. So there's info that can be gathered from a graph, but it's limited in comparison to phones, processors, most other electronic goods that you can just say, this does this, it was measured like this, compare the two, and then consider your real world usage. So you might get something better because you spent more and the company was hoping to do it, but at the end of the day it comes down to your music library and your preferences, and companies are also trying to, as I mentioned before, capture a larger market. And one of the tactics that's 100 years old, more than that, several hundred years old, is trying to get the masses on board with your idea by making something that appeals to them and gather all of them and then slowly nudge them up the hill to the thing that you've got that you're really actually trying to get them to look at. But you got to get their attention first. And to do that, you've got to be clever. So don't underestimate companies and their ability to work the crowd. Social engineering. It's you know, oh, big box. Oh, nice cable. Terminations. That shell looks good. It's the better set. Okay. Sure. Maybe. If you've been in this hobby, how many people do you know that have been in the hobby for 5 years plus that have never wasted money? Which means that they didn't buy something that they thought, oh, everything I saw and then what I heard, it was completely different. I don't know anybody, actually. Not anybody. There's the other stories, how much money has been dumped into the hobby, and how much regret there is, but I finally found my thing and I'm out. Or I'm going to keep chasing that thing and I'll never find it. It's an emotionally driven hobby like no other that I'm aware of. It's an art. It's like looking at a piece of artwork and one person sees the genius, the message, the brilliance, and another person has no idea what's going on, doesn't want to know what's going on, just doesn't like it. That's like this hobby. That's literally kind of what this is. This hobby is more like people appreciating abstract art. It's closer to that than it is to people that like cell phones and are tech geeks and are trying to get the every piece of performance squeezed out of every piece of anything that can be improved on it. This hobby's closer to Picasso than it is to Apple. That was pretty nice, actually. I think I'll close with that. And I'm out.